Hello, Mr. Neven here. Welcome to Rome Total War Remastered and the new mod for the game, the Lord of the Rings Total War Remastered. So, some history here. Lord of the Rings Total War was a mod for Rome Total War Alexander, released for the first time, I believe, in 2007. I remember that version of the mod was very unstable. And then I believe the final version by the official team released in 2013, and that's the first excuse me, that's the first version that was actually playable without crashing and such, that were actually stable. I know that some people said that the trolls crashed every battle and so, but that's only true if you played on a Windows 10 computer. The trolls worked fine on Windows XP and on Windows 7. Okay, but not on Windows 10. Anyway, I used to play that mod back in 2013, and I played some of it last year too. And this year I played a little bit of an older campaign in it. Anyway, this is the same mod, but it's ported to the much more recent engine, Rome Total War Remastered, Total War Rome Remastered. And of course, the remastered version of the game, of the Rome Total War game, released in May 2021. Instead of 2004, 2005 and 2006, like the original Rome Total War and its expansion packs, Barbarian Invasion and Alexander. So this mod, the old version of it, had its final release on, I believe, during September 2013, I think. But then there were some submods for it that released as late as, I believe, last year. But anyway, this port has been worked on by Syrianus Dagvax, the same creator that made Total War 1942 for Rome Total War Barbarian Invasion. And yeah, I played that mod previously. I was kind of a part of the team of Total War 1942. I did a list on it too. But I did every quote, I believe, in the game, and then I did some gameplay. Anyway, I played a campaign in it as Germany during World War II, and then I also did some preview videos and such. I believe also that I started an American campaign, and that one I plan on continuing. But anyway, this mod, unlike Total War 1942, has received a port, and Dagovax did the port to the remastered version. So when you port a game to the remaster, you need to rig all the models again. Certain things can be ported easily, like the 2D art and the scripts and such. I believe he just copy-pasted the scripts. But when it came to the models and the custom cities and such, he needed to do way more work than he would have needed to do on the old engine. Now, Dagovax wasn't the guy behind the original mod. It was made by some other guys that we saw when the video started. But to rig a model for the remastered version of Rome Total War takes twice the time as rigging a model for the old game. So he has spent time rigging every model for the old game for this new version of the game, which took him twice the time. And then the settlements have also been ported, and he has improved on them. So he has improved on a lot of stuff. There are 2 campaigns in this mod. In the original mod, I believe there were you had a fellowship campaign where you played as the Free Peoples of Eriador and could follow the story of the movie. The movies, you start at the end, I believe, of no, if you play the fellowship campaign, you start at the beginning of the first movie, then you play until, I believe, the end. And then you could also play the War of the Ring campaign, which was like the grand campaign where you can play as everyone else. Of course, the fellowship, the Free Peoples of Eriador, they were a part of that campaign as well, but when you selected the Free Peoples, you started like a unique scripted campaign. If you start the campaign as someone else, you would also start on a movie-based, as the campaign would start somewhere in the movies based on that fact. For example, if you played as the Free Peoples, Eriador, you started with Frodo and Sam when they are about to leave Shire or Hobbiton. If you started as Isengard, you start at the point where Lurtz is ambushing the Fellowship, and then you fight from there and can then control Isengard and such. So there are a lot of scripts in the mod and such, but you are free to do your own choices and change history. But it still follows the movies very accurately, so you can play it like in the movies. Okay, and this campaign, the remastered campaign, has a new campaign too. I believe there were some sub-mods for the old game that added additional campaigns as well that I never played, because the old game for Rome to Lord Alexander became unstable on, I believe in 2013 it was extremely stable, but in later years, I believe there were some instability, probably because the computers, have automated Windows updates, and something caused the game to work to become less stable after one of those updates. So this mod, the remastered version, is hopefully much more stable. We'll go to a new game. So we have 2 campaigns. We have the original Third Age campaign, which is the original War of the Ring campaign in the old game. In the old mod for Rome to Lord Alexander, the campaign was named War of the Ring. In this mod, the old campaign is named the original Third Age Tale. Here you have a smaller map. Excuse me. I need to drink a little bit. So in the original excuse me, in the original Third Age campaign, you start with a smaller map, you have fewer factions, and you have fewer regions on the map. But you still have all the awesome scripts and features and heroes and such, and you can still play the Fellowship campaign on this map, I believe. At least in the old version it was possible. So I believe it has the same features, just it has fewer factions, fewer regions, and it has a smaller map, and maybe there may be some gameplay changes too. I believe the other version, the other map, the other campaign, the War of the Ring campaign of this mod has 3 or 4. I believe it has 4 dwarven factions, and they are all Roman factions. So they are connected to each other, like the Romans. Excuse me, like the Roman Senate. So they are allied and can help each other and such. And then I believe that there is a Gundabad faction too. So instead of the Orcs of the Mist Mountains controlling all of the Mist Mountains and Gundabad and Angmar, they have split them in 2 and added Gundabad over here. I like the fact that they added more regions and more factions, but the problem is that they gave too many areas to the rebels in that campaign. So the problem is that I believe Rohan will risk taking areas that should belong to Gondor, and Gondor will take areas that should belong to Rohan and such. I think I will play the original campaign. The other campaign has a larger map and more factions. Instead of 1 dwarven faction, you have 4. Instead of 1 goblin faction, you have 2. And the dwarven factions are connected, as I said, to the Roman Senate. And then it has a lot of regions. I want to try this campaign too, but we'll try the original one. I always wanted to play the original one with Isengard. We'll do that. We'll check the other factions. We have the Free Peoples of Eriador. No, the Free Peoples of Middle Earth. They start here in Eriador. There you have Hobbiton, Michel Delving and other Hobbit areas, and you have the city of Bree and other human areas there, the free people. Then they also have an area over here, Beorn, I believe, where you have like Grimbeorn, the son of Beorn, because Beorn is, I believe, dead during this time period. During the Third Age he was too old. So we have Beorn here. These Beornings, they are a unit in the game. So the son of Beorn is a part of this faction too. If we play this campaign, we will start from the beginning of the first movie and play with Frodo and the other heroes and try to take the ring to Mount Doom at the same time as they do their journey, where they have to avoid Nazguls and move into Moria and avoid the Balrog and go through Lorien and then down into the Fangorn Forest and down to Rohan and avoid the Isengard Urkai and all that. It follows the movies very accurately. At the same time, while the heroes are doing all that movie stuff, you have to defend cities in mainland Eriador from invading goblin armies. So it's a very difficult campaign. I tried this campaign in the old mod. I played, I believe, last year or in 2020, and had to stop it because I couldn't progress. But I played as far as getting the Army of the Dead with Aragorn. Then, unfortunately, they were underpowered, so they couldn't defeat all the Southron armies or Haradrim armies that were in their way. I believe they defeated one huge Haradrim army, and then they got defeated, so I couldn't continue. You know, in the movie, the Army of the Dead would kill all the Haradrim armies, and then the armies of Mordor all the way until they reached the gates of Mordor, and then the gates open and Sauron sends out a new army. That will be like the climax of everything, but in the game the Army of the Dead was too weak, so they couldn't even defeat all the Haradrim armies. I don't know how it is in this mod. I haven't played it before. I tried it out in May, an older version of this mod. It's been changed a lot since then. It has way more features now. Gameplay features. It's a lot more polished. I believe that the other campaign with the additional factions, the War of the Ring campaign, it didn't exist in the older version. It has replaced a lot of models and such in the game. I believe they are using the Wood Elf submod now that added additional heroes and strat models and battle models to the game for the heroes. For example, Shark, the leader of the Hog Riders of Isengard, or a bunch of elven heroes, a bunch of Gondorian heroes and such minor characters that I don't remember the names of. And Arwen, I believe, was part of that submod too, but I don't know if they has added her. I spent some time adding her to the other older version of the mod. I don't know if she's in this campaign. But anyway, those models are also great, and as I said, it was mostly heroes that were added. Yeah, we'll check the factions. So we have the Free Peoples of Middle-earth. So if we play this faction, we'll start from the beginning of the first movie and play through the story, and then we have to defend the homelands of Eriador at the same time while moving the heroes through Middle-earth. If we are conquered, if every area in Eriador is conquered, we lose. Or if the heroes die, so we can lose in two ways. Okay, then we have the Kingdom of Gondor down here. So in this campaign they have way more areas. I believe they lack maybe 1 or 2 areas here. They still have a lot of areas. In the other campaign there are so many rebel regions. I wish they had given more regions to the factions. I would have preferred if they had pretty much all their supposed regions except maybe 1 or 2. So that there is no risk of, for example, Rohan going down here and taking half of Gondor, which I think would happen if I played that campaign. But in this campaign, they have almost everything that they should have when you start. They lack maybe 1 or 2 areas. So it's not as much of a risk that someone else will come and take half their regions. Someone else that should be an ally, I mean. But anyway, we'll play this, and then Gondor, I believe, you play as them, you have like Faramir in Osgiliath, you have Denethor in Minas Tirith, you have Boromir. I don't know if he has his armor or not. I know that if you play Isengard, then Boromir starts at the fall of Rauros next to Lurtz, and that battle is about to happen immediately in that campaign, and then he has the look of the first movie. But I believe if you play as Gondor, that he might actually have his armor and stuff instead. Okay, so every faction starts lore accurately based on the movies, but not at the same timeline, which is weird. If you play the Free Peoples, you start in the beginning of the first movie. If you play Isengard, you start at the end of the first movie. If you play, for example, Gondor, you are somewhere in the middle of the second movie. So it's like depending on what faction you play as, you have different like points in the movie or movies, different points in the trilogy that you will start at. It's very, very unique in that sense, and this mod, unlike Third Age of the War for Medieval Tutelore Kingdoms, was originally made to follow the movies strictly, so it's not based on the books. It's based on the movies, at least the original mod was, and I believe Dagovax remade this campaign to be 100% accurate to the original. So this campaign is 100% following the movie trilogy of Peter Jackson, while the War of the Ring campaign might have some influence from other mods and books and such, you know, more regions, more factions and such, which I also enjoy. I just thought that there were too many rebel areas, and that the factions, if I would have given advice, I would have given more areas to the factions at the start. But anyway, too many areas held by the rebels. But yeah, this mod, unlike Third Age, is more based on the movies than on the books. Both Third Age and this mod have the style of the movies, but this one strictly tried to recreate the movies within the game and allow you as the player to change the story of the movies. So you start at a point in a movie, and then you can change the events. So if you play, for example, Gondor, you can recreate the events of the movie. And if you play Isengard, for example, then you can change the events of the movie. Some events may happen exactly like they did in the movies. For example, Lurtz is very likely to die for Isengard in the beginning. But other events might take a different turn. For example, you can win the Battle of Helm's Deep instead of losing it like in the movie. So that's the point of this mod, or at least the original, that they wanted to play the movies in a way where they could control all the factions of the movies and additional factions that weren't really in the movies but were present in the world, so to speak, in Middle-earth, and be able to change events in the movies as they pleased. Of course, the campaign still tries to follow basic lore, like for example the good factions are allied and such. I know that in the original mod you could go into a certain script file, I believe if it was a background scripts file or something, don't remember the name of the file, where you could activate hotseats. You could play as, for example, Isengard and Dunland as one faction. I mean, you played hotseats, you played both of those factions instead of just one, or you could play evil factions, then you played all the evil factions, or you could play, for example, the good elven factions or good human factions, etc., etc. And I also believe that file you could activate if you wanted good factions to help each other or not. So it should be possible even in this remastered version, I believe, to have allies be loyal to each other, or to have them, like in a sandbox where they can fight each other. So you could play, for example, the elves and kill the dwarves, or you can choose to have them as allies and fight the orcs instead. So it's possible to probably play it like a sandbox where you can fight everyone, and it's possible to play it like in lore where you try to defeat evil factions if you play the good, and vice versa. But I believe that because this is a Total War mod, the Total War mod for the remastered version, I believe that it's impossible to prevent factions from betraying you in the end. So in the end you probably would have to fight the good factions even if you are allied at the start. Okay. Anyway, this is Gondor, the Kingdom of Rohan. I believe they start somewhere in the beginning of the second movie. I believe Prince Theoden's son, is still alive, and the battle hasn't happened where he is badly hurt and falls in battle. The Battle of Isen against Isengard hasn't happened yet. So it starts a bit prior to the events of the second movie, just before the Battle of Isen, I believe. And then we have the clans of the dwarves, the faction that got split into 4 factions in the other campaign. So here they are, just the clans of the dwarves. You have Ered Luin over here, and you have Erebor and the Iron Hills over here. If you play the dwarves, I don't exactly know where you start, but the goal is to fight mostly the goblins, the orcs of the Misty Mountains in the original campaign. They hold all of these areas and then reclaim Moria and such. And then from this side you have the elves, they are an ally. You have the free people, and then you can go immediately here where you have the orcs of the Misty Mountains. In the other campaign, I believe that we instead have orcs of the Misty Mountains and the orcs of Gundabad. It will be 2 factions. Then I believe this side then the dwarves would be 4 factions too, so it would be different. Here you play as one single dwarven faction and fight the goblins. They are also one single faction. You might also come into contact with Rune over here, the Easterlings. They are fighting Dale, your neighbor, in these parts. Okay, then we have Mordor. They have Dol Guldur and they have mainland Mordor, and they need to connect Dol Guldur with the rest of Mordor, so their goal is to take areas here and fight Gondor. They move out of Minas Morgul and attack Osgiliath, and then move on towards REMASTERED, while armies here try to reach Dol Guldur and connect it with the rest of Mordor. So Mordor, they I believe they have a bunch of heroes too. They have all the Nazguls, they have Gottmog, the Orc General, and then they have Sauron himself, but he can't move unless you get the ring, so it's possible to get the ring in this game. Sauron can get it, and I believe that Saruman can get it too. He can't move either unless you get the ring as Isengard. Then the same is true for, I believe, Galadriel in this game and Elrond. So you need to take the ring to the heroes in order for them to be movable, and there are also other bonuses connected to giving them the ring. If you want the ring for Sauron, for example, you need to kill Frodo. Then the Nazgul general or other general that takes it, the one that kills Frodo will take the ring. So you need a general to be in the battle and be present in battle without dying when Frodo is killed. Then he will get the ring, and then you need to move him back to the capital where the specific hero is that you want to give the ring to. For example, for Sauron, I believe for Mordor it's Sauron, and for Isengard it's Saruman. For Rivendell, for the Noldor elves it's Elrond, and for Lothlorien it's Galadriel. And if the general is killed before he reaches the capital, then the ring will be lost, and there's a random chance that someone will pick it up. For example, Gollum or someone else. It could disappear and return later. So in this game, before you kill Frodo, I believe there is a random chance that Frodo or Gollum will get the ring. And if you play as the elves, then I believe your goal is to kill Gollum and take the ring from Gollum. If you play as the evil guys, Isengard and Mordor, then your goal is to kill Frodo and take the ring from Frodo. So both Frodo and Gollum can take the ring. They are like rebel characters when you play as other factions than the Free People. If you play the Free Peoples of Middle-earth, then you can control Frodo and Sam. I believe Gollum is always controlled by the rebels. So he is not playable. He has his own model and his own script. He works like Frodo, it's just that you cannot play as him. But you can kill him in the game. Okay, and Mordor, they are like a swarm fucking, they spam armies and such. Very cheap troops, but very numerous. They have Nazguls too, with fell beasts. So they do not just have horses here, they have fell beasts, the flying creatures that look like dragons. Okay. We have Isengard. There's Saruman the White. They have mainland Isengard and some camps in Fangorn Forest and in Dunland. And they start just before the invasion of Rohan. Okay, and then I believe they start at the end of the first movie, by the way, because Lurtz is still alive, but he dies at the beginning of the game. I believe the first battle you will fight as Isengard will be Lurtz's battle against Boromir and the other heroes, where Lurtz is certain to lose. Okay. And we have the Orcs of the Misty Mountains. In this campaign they are one faction, and in the other campaign they are cut in two here. Okay, so Orcs of the Misty Mountains, they are the goblins. They hold Moria, Goblin Town, and some other areas like Gunnabar and such. Carndam. I believe that they look more like in the movies in this game. And I really like how the goblins look in this game. Okay, the armored goblins at least. They have a crunched back. They hunch like a hunchback, you know. They look like in the movies very accurately when they move. So I like the goblins more in this game than in other Third Age projects and mods. Okay, and then we have the Eastlings of Rune. I once tried this faction in the old mod, but they were immediately invaded by my ally Mordor, and couldn't stop them because they had like unlimited troops. I played them probably very hard back then. Now I'm gonna play on easy, so let's see here. Device level none, campaign difficulty easy, don't want it to be too difficult, battle difficulty be a medium. We won't follow AI characters, we will have no battle time limit, we won't have realistic governance. I don't need a governor in every city for recruitment to be possible. We won't play a short campaign, so we'll only have no battle time limit, and easy difficulty on the map, and medium difficulty in battle. The Rune, they have really cool troops too, including chariots and pikes and such, but they have a difficult position when Mordor invades, at least in the old mod. I would like to play as them too, they are really cool. So Good Elf, he had added really good civilians for the Easterlings, for the Radrim, for the dwarves, for the elves, and for the humans. So Dagwek said he had added most of the stuff from the Good Elf submod. I don't know if he has added the civilians or not. I believe that Isengard do not have civilians, or they have just the old ones, the soldiers, without their weapons. But I believe Good Elf added like 3 variations of male civilians and 2 variations of female. They look really good and immersive. You know, in Rome Total War and in Total War Rome Remastered, you have the civilian view where you can check settlements in peacetime, and then civilians move around in cities. And Good Elf added unique civilians for all the factions where it made sense. And if you're lucky, Dagwek Sirianus has added that to this mod now too. But I don't know, I haven't checked one of the good factions, or the evil humans. I believe the orcs didn't get that, and the Dunlendings didn't get it either, I believe. Okay, so, but hopefully they have been added, because it's really immersive when you check a settlement and you see all the civilians moving around, and then you have both females and men. As I said, 3 male variations and 2 female variations. Then there were soldiers too, and unlike in, for example, the old version of Lord of the Rings Total War, or for example Total War 1942, they are not disarmed. Instead, the guards in the settlements move around with spears and shields, so it's possible to have civilians that walk around with weapons. I believe the trick to that in the original mod, according to Good Elf, was that you needed to rig the weapon to the arm instead of to the hand. If it was rigged to the hand, the game would automatically remove the weapon when the unit is used as a civilian. If it was rigged to the arm, I believe that the weapon was still there. Okay, so and it looked really cool. You had like 3 civilian men and 2 civilian females multiplied, so it was like a real population moving around. Then you had 2 different guards too. I believe for elves it was one with a bow and arrow and one with a shield and spear. Really immersive to check out settlements like that, and not just your own settlements that you have from the start, but if you take an area from the enemy and check it in the civilian view, you can see your own civilians moving around. So it's very immersive, and I hope Good Elf stuff has been added, but as we're not gonna play the good factions here, it doesn't matter, because Isengard doesn't have that. Okay, but Rune is a really cool faction. They too got civilian models. Radrim is similar. They have the Mumakils, the giant elephants, or elephants as they are known in Lord of the Rings. And then they have a lot of archers and spearmen and such, light clad troops. I believe the Eastlings of Rune, they are more heavily armored. They have golden armor and glaives and such as their weapons. Then we have the Noldor Elves. We have like the Grey Havens or Linden here. Then we have Imladris. Maybe in a future version he could split Imladris and Linden into 2. I believe in in Divide and Conquer and other mods they have split the Noldor elves into two because they are split here. There are humans in between. So this is like the Linden areas and this is in Imladris. But in this mod, as in the original, they were just one faction. So it's the Noldor elves in this mod. Pretty much Elrond's faction and the other guy, I don't remember his name. Linden and Imladris combined into one. I believe they are combined in the latest version of Divide and Conquer, but in earlier versions of Divide and Conquer they were two different factions. Then I believe that Divide and Conquer made them one because they wanted to add a completely unique faction and needed a slot. But yeah, they could be two factions, like the dwarves and the orcs. I mean the goblins. But that's entirely up to the Eggwax. Maybe there is one negative if they are two factions, and that's the fact that they might fight each other. If they are one faction, they are allied, but if they are two different factions, there is a risk they will go to war against each other sooner or later. Okay, then we have, and also maybe it won't work well with the scripts. You know, this mod, unlike Third Age, has a lot of scripts that affect gameplay. So making this faction two factions might have a negative impact on the actual scripts of the game, like the Fellowship campaign and such. So it might be too difficult due to the scripts. If it was a sandbox campaign, it would have been easier. But this mod, Lord of the Rings Total War Remastered, has a lot of advanced scripts, and splitting factions into more than one faction might have a negative impact on the scripts. So that could be the reason why he didn't split them into two. I don't know. I believe in this campaign he wouldn't have split them anyway because he wanted this campaign to be exactly like in the original. But in the other campaign, I mean the War of the Ring campaign, where he has 4 dwarven factions and 2 goblin factions, it could have made sense to have 2 Noldor elven factions too. But maybe it's because of the scripts. I don't know. Okay, but the Noldor elves, they have really heavily armored troops. They are few in numbers, but they are really strong. They are really cool. Then we have the elves of Lorien, led by Galadriel and I believe Celeborn, her husband. I believe that they have more lightly armored troops, but their elite troops have good armor too. They are more archer based, while the other elves, they have a lot of spearmen and such, heavily armored spearmen, I believe that, and cavalry. I believe, and archers, while Lorien or the Galadrim, they have mostly archers and spearmen and such. They do not have a lot of, don't think they have cavalry. Also, they have a unique siege engine, the elves, that is really cool. Okay, we have the Sylvan elves too. The Good elf, I believe, no, it might have been Good elf, I don't remember, or if it was Kurdish Nomad, or maybe both. I believe Good elf might have used Kurdish Nomad's elves, so he added the looks from the Hobbit movies to the Sylvan elves, which is the faction of Thranduil in this mod. They are known as the Sylvan elves here. Thranduil's faction. You know, Thranduil is the father of Legolas. Legolas is the prince of the faction. So this faction in the original mod, they're not based on the movies because the Hobbit movies weren't out when this mod released in 2007 and 2013 and such. I believe in 2013, I believe the first movie was out, but the second movie hadn't arrived yet when this released. And for the original mod, and the elves were probably created in 2007, so they are not based on the movies, and they have a very unique look. Only the heroes are based on the movies. For example, Legolas is based on the movies. I don't believe Thranduil is. So Legolas is the only character in this faction based on the movies, and the others are more book-based. But I believe Kurdish Nomad, creator of I believe The Last Airbender, Total War, and and some other projects, RuneScape, Total War. He made skins for the he made new models based on the Hobbit movies that were really accurate, and I believe that Woodulf used them in his project too. So I don't know if this faction has the Kurdish nomad models or if it has the old models, but I would guess it has the old ones. I prefer the actually the movie ones, to be honest, but anyway, I'm not gonna play as them. Okay, then we have Dale, the human faction next to the dwarves of Erebor. So they are also playable. Bard's faction, but I don't think Bard is alive anymore. I believe instead that you play as his son leading the faction. I don't remember his name. And then we have the Wildmen of Dunland. They are the weakest faction, I believe, in the game, because the free people, they have access to ends and such. But maybe the free peoples are weaker, but it's such a unique campaign, so the weakest of the normal factions you play as is the Wildmen of Dunland. In the late game, I believe they have really good armored infantry, but they have very basic troops. They also have some good cavalry, like war riders and such, but they have very sucky ranged units, only javelin throwers. They have no archers. They can't really fight the elves, and the elves are very nearby. They are like next door. They just need to move a little bit and then they invade, and it's very difficult for the Dunlendings to defeat them because they can kill you from afar. You have the Dunlending units at the start of the game have very weak like armor values. They have only like leather armor. They have no metal or anything. They have only javelin throwers as ranged units. They have no archers. They are easy targets for the elves. Okay. In this campaign we will play as Isengard. We can check the other campaign first. So in this campaign we have Free Peoples of Middle-earth. We have the Kingdom of Gondor. The map here might be wrong. I think it's the same as in the other, but in the actual game it's much bigger. And Gondor is far from all their areas. I believe half of Gondor was rebel held. Okay, we have Rohan, or the Kingdom of Rohan. We have forces of Mordor. We have Isengard. We have the rebels of Orcs, the goblins. We have forces of Gundabad. As you can see, the goblins have been cut in two, which is cool. I believe that forces of Gundabad has some new units too, like new trolls and such. We have the Wicked Men of the East, also known as the Rune faction, or the Eastlings of Rune. We have the Wicked Men of the South, Southrons. So the other ones are known as Eastlings here. Southrons, that's the Haradrim or Harad. And they start down there. We have the Elves of the Noldor. They are one faction here too. We have the Elves of Lothlorien, the Sylvan Elves or Elves of Sylvan. We have the Dwarves of Erebor. They start here with Erebor only. Then we have the Dwarves of Iron Hills. They start with Iron Hills only, one region. Then we have Eredlun. They start with one area over here, or two. And then we have Kingdom of Dale, yeah. And the Wildmen of Dunland. So we have the Dwarves of Iron Hills, Dwarves of Eredlun, Dwarves of Erebor. I was sure that there were a Dwarven clan faction too somewhere here. Maybe they have been removed. They were in the older version, I believe. There were 4 in the older version. But here I can only see 3 Dwarven factions. Okay, we'll play the original. We'll play as Isengard. Let's start the campaign. I've spoken enough.
Isengard is at your command, Sauron, Lord of the Earth. Osgood's warrior.
So I didn't dare to watch that. I thought first about watching it, but then I remembered that when I played an official game, that it was copyright struck, and not just copyright struck, but I believe that the game couldn't be watched, the video couldn't be watched because it had cutscenes from the actual movies, and I managed to get that unbanned because it was an official game. I believe it was the third age. I believe for the PlayStation 2 and Final Fantasy styled game. But for a mod like this, I believe that they would make the video unwatchable, and I wouldn't be able to appeal the decision like I did with the other game, because this is a mod. So the modders do not have the rights, own the rights to the video material. So if I want to watch any of the movies, I need to play myself and not record. Because if I play it like this when I record, then on YouTube they will recognize the movie material, and then the movie will be blocked in many countries, maybe in every country. And unlike with an official game, I can't appeal the decision and claim that it's a game, because as I said, the modders do not have the rights to the video material, and because of that I would lose the appeal, so my video wouldn't be watchable. I hope that scene won't be enough for the video to be blocked. I stopped it a bit in, still I believe we heard Saruman say something. Hopefully it's not enough to get the video blocked. Okay. I believe music and such won't affect video visibility. I believe that the music might make it impossible to earn money on a video, but it's not as bad as showing video content, because video content will get the mod, the video of the mod banned in different countries, maybe in every country. It's not worth it, which is a shame, because it looked like a really good cutscene from the movie. Very high quality in this game. So I'm playing on my Windows 7 computer, but I'm streaming the game on a Windows 10 computer that is a bit older, I believe 3 or 4 years older. But if I played on that computer, the graphics would be way worse. I look at the screen now of that computer and it's way worse. And I have a much better graphics card on this computer, so it still looks way better here than on the other one.
Listen up!
Okay, so we have a really cool looking strat model of an Isengard Urkai general there.
Listen up!
General Foldberg here. Okay. So here we have the Foldberg. In the other campaign, I believe Foldberg was over here. We had a different area here. But this campaign this map is different. We have ally here, a wild man army, Dunland army. We have some swordsmen, vanguards, scouts, orcs. Okay, I believe in this campaign, first thing that will happen is this fight with lurks. If I try to move him out of here to save him, he will be ambushed by Aragorn and the others. He will be killed by them no matter what. He will attack Boromir here. I believe Aragorn, Legolas and Gimli are hiding in the woods here too. We have an army over here,
Meat's back on the
but
menu.
they won't be able to reach lurks in time. But there is a force here.
March!
Move them closer. I try to reach them with lurks.
Meat's
Will be
back on
ambushed.
the menu.
Tried that before. We do not need to move that army. So we are. It's been a while since I played a remaster. I played it once before. Twice actually. I played once when recording and once without recording. I play tested different settings. So in this campaign We'll check the map, by the way, before we start playing. We click on the tilde key, and then it's the same code as in Rome Total War and in Medieval 2. Toggle file to make the map visible. That's nice that it has the same codes, cheat codes, the other mod. And this is the original campaign, so it will not have as many regions as the other. So in the remaster we can zoom out like this and see areas. And then we can zoom out even more, unlike in the older games, unlike in Medieval 2, Total War Kingdoms, and unlike in Rome Total War, Barbarian Invasion and Alexander. So you can see all the regions here. In the other campaign we would have a million different regions, so the map was really expensive. I may try that one later. Okay, so here we have Radrim, Southrons, we have the Eastlings, Rune, we have Mordor, Gondor, Rohan. And as you can see that they only have like 3 rebel areas here. In the other campaign we had like a huge area here with full of rebel areas, so there is a risk that Rohan will go down and take areas that should belong to the Gondor. Here I think there is less of a risk. They might take this area, I believe, Pukelland, but Gondor will certainly take this area and this one. Maybe at least this one. Okay, we have the Lorien faction, we have Sylvan Elves, Dale, we have Dwarves, we have the Dwarves here too, same faction. The Goblins. They will certainly take areas here too. I believe in the original mod they might even have held some of these from the start. I don't remember. We have Dunland and Isengard, the faction we are playing. We have the Free Peoples of Middle-earth. And we have the Noldor Elves split in 2 areas. This is the campaign map, the original mod. Maybe the goblins didn't have these areas, but they did certainly take them a few times in. Or it's wrong. Maybe they actually had this area. I believe that the goblins held this area from the start. It could be wrong in the original mod, I mean. Okay. So if we check the map, I'm playing on high settings now, not ultra, because it would lag on the other older computer if I had on ultra. But this is good enough. It's much better looking than on the other computer, even if I do not play with the maximum settings. So I can take a look at the map here. I saw someone being able to zoom in all the way down to the city strat models. They could zoom down all the way to the settlement here, but when I use the scrolling button now I can't do it. So I don't know how to do that, but it should be possible to scroll down all the way to the strat models of the cities. But I don't know how to do it. I saw in a video that someone did that with this area, I believe. They zoomed down all the way to this area. No idea how to do it, but I believe he played as Gondor. Could be wrong. Yeah, it should be possible to zoom in further, but I don't know how to do it. Okay, we'll need to look that up later. Ask someone who knows. I'm very unused to the remastered version of Rome, its UI and the interface. Yeah, it would be cool to be able to do that. Maybe this campaign can't. Maybe it's not possible in this campaign, as it tries to be the same as the official, the old official mod for the older game. Maybe you need to play the other campaign to zoom in, or maybe it's possible. I just don't know how. Okay, so we can check the. We'll remove the toggle file. So it's removed. Good. Okay, and then we'll check the settlements. By the way, Grima Wormtang
Yes.
is a diplomat in this mod. You can speak to Rohan.
I will address them at once.
Okay. ended up with some bug there. Managed to remove the mouse. Clicked on I clicked on a button. It's not a bug, I mean I clicked on a button and then I couldn't
Can I be of service?
exit the
I will
view.
address them at once.
I can speak to characters with the diplomat more than once during a turn as long as I can reach them. Unlike in Medieval 2 Total War Kingdoms, where I can only speak to a faction once. You can speak only once with a diplomat in Medieval 2. In Rome Total War and in Total War Rome Remastered, you can speak endless times as long as you reach them with the diplomats. It's better in that sense for sure. And the remaster of Rome Total War has so many benefits compared to Medieval 2 that I believe it will be seen as the better game later, because it has no limits when it comes to modding, or almost no limits. Unlike Medieval 2 and the old Rome Total War, it had a lot of limits. I mean, Medieval 2 used to be the best Total War game for modding, with the least limits. But this game is even better when it comes to modding capabilities. It just doesn't have as many mods. This is the first real fantasy mod for this game. First one that has been completed in its full glory. Of course, the Egoax still has to, I believe, add custom voices and such for a bunch of different factions, and maybe other smaller things needs to be done, but for the most part it's perfectly ready to be played. I don't know about stability. You'll see. Okay, so we were speaking with Rohan. I don't like that the text is so small. But I'm a bit away from the TV. I'm at my sofa now. And looking at the TV, it's a bit away. Okay, I don't think we want ceasefire. Check the settlements. Okay, it's been a while. I think we recruit here. We can recruit Orc Raiders. First infantry. Then we have Urukai, the scout infantry. We have the Urukai scouts, like the archers of the scout archers. We have siege bows. A ballista, could use one of them. Then we have Urukai swordsmen, Urukai axemen, and Urukai spearmen. We do not have the best troops yet, but we have some really good Urukai troops here. So we start with a bunch of Urukai troops. Spearmen, swordsmen. Okay. Even an axeman unit. We have one unit of pikemen. A crossbowman unit, which can't recruit them yet. Okay. Let's go to the buildings first. Steward of the right hand. I'm so far away from the screen that I can hardly read the text. Armor +1, surface mines, light attack +1, heavy attack +1, missile attack +1, war pen, Isengard forge. Let's go for the Isengard forge, I think. And then so we get more infantry, and then for troops, I think we could go for another axeman unit. And another spearman unit. We need spearmen. No, we need spearmen against the cavalry of Rohan. We'll go for 2 spearman units. I believe we can't recruit from the camps. Could take a look at our settlements. So explore settlement on battle map. We'll do that. Yes, we'll look at it. I will pause the loading here and return when it's done. Alright, I'm back. We are checking out the camp, the edge of the Fangorn Forest. Here we have the Fangorn Forest. Forests in this mod look so beautiful. Trees and the grass and such. The water. I believe the trees and grass looks way more aesthetic than Medieval 2. I believe the trees of Medieval 2 look so outdated. Well, in this game they look really good, even on high graphical settings. So if we had ultra settings it would look even better, but it wouldn't be possible on my older computer. I need to upgrade the Windows 7 computer to a Windows 10 for that to be possible. I believe this computer, the Windows 7 computer, will be able to handle the graphics on ultra. But I need Windows 10 to be able to launch the game from this computer. Currently I'm launching it from the other computer through streaming, or the Steam stream functionality. So this is the camp. An orc camp or Urkai camp. Really cool. Same settlement as in the original. Just looks way better here. There are, as far as I can see, hardly any civilians here. There are some. They have troops, but like in the old game, the troops of Isengard do not actually have weapons. In this view, it's possible to have weapons, but they didn't have that even in Wood Elves mod. I believe he only changed the elves, the humans, the dwarves, I believe, not the orcs. Okay, it's a cool little camp. Some troops moving around. Here we have a scout unit with shields. She's carrying a shield, but not a weapon. A crossbowman. Here we have a heavy infantry without the weapon. Some good looking armor and such. And an orc reversed unit. Okay, let's return. And I will return soon. I will pause the mod here. Alright, we're back on the map. Isengard. Cannot check enemy areas, I believe. Explore the settlement on battle map. Can't do it if you are not in control of the area. You can check Isengard. I believe this camp, Dunland camp, is just the same as the other camp. At least in the older mod it was. Don't know about this one. I think it should be, at least in this campaign, where they wanted to stay true to the other one. So the strat model might be a different strat model, but I think it's the same in battle. I will check the Dunland camp too, just to see if it's the same. Let's do it. I'll pause the game again. So I'm back. So in the older mod for Rome to Lord Alexander, I believe that the Dunland camp and the Fangorn camp are the same in battle. In this mod it seems to be the same as well. This is the same settlement that we just checked. We have better weather here, so you can see it more clearly. This is the same settlement. It's exactly the same as in the original mod, just with way better terrain and surroundings, better trees. All the assets look better here. Yeah, it's like a remastered version of the same settlement. Really cool. Both the camps are just camps without walls. They're easily taken. It's hard to defend. Alright. Then we will return. And I will pause here. Alright, we're back on the campaign. I need to check out the capital, Isengard itself. Okay, so in Isengard we have some buildings. I want to check settings again. Graphic settings. UI size. What happens if I do this? Will they become smaller? Probably. We'll still try it. Yeah, I think everything became smaller. We'll return that right here. Okay, so it would be better if I had the TV closer to there, so, but I don't. So it's a little bit difficult to read the text, so I'm like 3 or 4 meters away. 3 at least. Okay, so we'll check the capital, Isengard. And I will see you soon. Alright, I'm back. So we are in Isengard, the capital. This faction, same name. Okay, so we're Kai walking around. This settlement looked way better than in the old version. Same settlement, but with much better terrain, much better roads, much better details. I believe the walls look similar, but higher quality here. Mastered version. All these cool holes. The ground, we have the custom buildings. Like here we have the Isengard smithy that we can actually destroy and build. It's in Room to Lore, and its expansion you can destroy stuff not only on the map, you know. When you take over a settlement you can raise the buildings by clicking destroy building. But in this game you can use siege engines and destroy them in battle too, and they will take fire and they start to burn and will actually disappear when they reach 100%. In Medieval 2 they can also catch fire in battles. The percentage will never reach 0. Will stay somewhere in the middle or something. So it's impossible to destroy the buildings in battles in Medieval 2, and its mods in Road to Lore and to Lore Remastered, and any mod based on the original Road to Lore or the remastered version. You can have buildings or custom that you can destroy. Check the other areas. See here that we have a random building, not a custom building. So the random buildings can't be destroyed. Only the custom ones can. We have the Urk spawning pit, where we recruit all the infantry of the Urukai. Really cool building. Might be new. You know the building existed in the old game, but the models, I don't know if that one existed or not. Maybe it did. I played, by the way, Isengard in the old mod. We started a campaign in 2020 in March, and then I played some more in September or August, I believe, that year. But I had some issues with the siege engines not working properly. I believe the catapults didn't, the flaming arrow didn't work. I had to stop the campaign. I believe I fixed the ammunition, but there were some issues with the mod that led to me having to cancel the Isengard campaign. We are like 5 episodes in, and each episode we are at least 1.5 hours to 2.5 hours. Maybe it's one of the episodes or two were 3 hours or something too. We got Smithy. Okay, so I had to restart it. I had planned on playing it on the Godelf sub mod instead. But now that this mod is released, it's more worth it to play it here. You check the tower. If you move close to it, it will automatically move up. So you can see it from the top. Like this. Place where Gandalf was. You can now see the area from above. The area of Isengard. And that might be the river Isen here. Yeah, it's a really cool settlement. You can change the camera view like this too. Holding the scrolling button. Possible to move that. I didn't know that. That's cool. A much better overview here. Camera can be manually moved like this with the mouse. It's a much better camera view in this mod and in the remastered game compared to vanilla, where it was very, very annoying. The camera, it was fixed certain position. You couldn't move it around like this. You could only move it around like this. Here you are more free. There are a lot of civilians, soldiers walking around. I think that maybe they should add the weapons for soldiers. It would look better with the weapons. I don't believe that orcs and Urkai would ever let go of their swords. But anyway, everything looks great, and it's time to return to the map and start playing. So see you soon. We'll pause the game now. Alright, you're back on the map. It's time to start playing. So,
Listen up!
could probably speak
Awaiting your command. I will address them at once.
You can take Wormtongue to this area, speak to Rohan. Map information. Okay. We can offer to become protector, and we can offer to become protector. Offer. I won't accept that. Okay. They wanted map information but didn't give anything.
Quit your jabbering!
Okay, yeah.
Meat's back on the menu!
Oh man.
Quit your jabbering! Quit your jabbering! Quit your jabbering! Quit your jabbering!
I think we'll build up the good army. Isengard.
Meat's back on the menu! Meat's back on the menu! Quit your jabbering!
Could probably move back. This army.
Quit your jabbering!
This unit 2. It was Isengard. these two units.
Back on the menu. Quit your jabbering.
Don't really want scouts in the army.
Quit your jabbering.
I believe the Battle of Alerts here against the Fellowship will commence very soon. Okay. Settings. Body settings. Could have a little bit louder music on. Okay, we will attack.
Back on the menu. Slay them all.
Okay, battle deployment. We have faction Air, alerts, rank 32, soldiers deployed, 221, Urkai. And then we have on the other side Gondor, General Boromir, rank 33, soldiers deployed 17. Okay, he's a 5-star general, we are 0-star general. We have 1 influence, he has 1 influence, and he has 0 management, we have 0 management. We have a unit of orc raiders, the worst infantry, like workers, and then like ordinary orc workers, and then we have a Urkai Marauder unit, same unit as Lurtz himself, infantry scouts. The enemy is just Boromir. I believe they might be reinforced by others. We're unlucky, or we can kill him maybe without the others reinforcing him. We will save the game for the battle. Think Isengard 0-0. Save succeeded. So we will fight this battle on the battle map. Unfortunately, in this mod and in other mods for Rome Total War or Total War Rome Remastered, we cannot use. We do not have any immersion mod or third-person mod, so we can't control the generals in third person. So in this game they will be a part of the unit, and we can't really control them manually. But the graphics are better here than in Medieval 2, and it's really gorgeous. We'll jump straight into the battle. Fight the battle. Let's pause the recording here. I will return when the loading is finished. Do not use an SSD drive, so that's why it's a bit slow. Yes. So it's done. The battle starts. I play this battle.
Listen to my words. There will be no dawn for men.
I forgot that Saruman says that when we start the battle. It's pretty cool. I don't believe he did that in the original, and it's good that Dagvax added it. Okay, so we have a nice camera view here. Like in the original. With way better graphics. Okay, start deployment.
Draw your weapons.
Don't remember how to remove the UI. I believe it was possible. A certain button. Not on home. Okay. Yeah, I will have to read up on such things. How to remove the UI and such. But here we have Lurtz himself. Looks like this in this mod. Looks way better than in the old mod. He has the same type of body, but way better face. There are improvements for sure. Then we have the scouts. Ones with the bows. They're cool. I prefer the heavily armored Urkai of the scouts. still prefer these guys over the ordinary orcs. Okay, here we have the infantry. Alerts, style, scout infantry. They're still pretty cool. Then we have the ordinary orcs. Nothing special. Yeah, and they will probably win this battle. Alerts, bodyguard, say archer, scout, bodyguard. Formation.
Stay in range! Form up! Stay in range!
Okay, we have loose formation.
Urakal!
Okay.
Uruks!
Flaming arrow number 1 as well.
Uruks! Urakal!
Group them.
To your places!
Then we have information, AI control. Okay, let's just start the battle. By the way, need to go to settings, view controls, camera rotate. Guess I will just check this a little bit fast here. Space. Okay. There are a lot of options here. I'll have to look that up on Google later. I would like to, remove the UI so I can just watch the battle without having the UI. Maybe I could make it smaller, the graphical settings during battles. I believe I did that previously with the other mod. So that in battles I have it small like this. Yeah, I played like this. Then on the map it's huge because I need to be able to see better. Right, the enemy. Anyway, I think the audio is too low. Here we have Boromir. He has his fellowship look. Lost the game. It's moving too fast for us to be able to look at him otherwise. I always thought Boromir was cool in the original movie. He was kind of my favorite character in the original movie. Because Gollum was hardly in it. Okay, here's a bodyguard of rangers. They are ranged. Okay, we will order the Lurch to attack with his bowman, and then we will send the other troops to. Maybe they should be in loose formation. Okay. Coming over here. Might win against Boromir. See, we didn't have any backup. Even I tried to move Lurch from this place. We got ambushed by Aragorn, Gimli, and Legolas, and they would kill everyone. Lurch's little gang. Now we can hopefully kill Boromir, like in the story, without the others interfering. Yeah, I picked the original campaign because I wanted it to be a little bit faster and simpler. But I will try the other campaign too. Maybe as a good faction, like one of the good factions. But we will, I think we need to lower it a little bit. I love the models, and the battlefields look much better here than in Medieval 2. The models also look awesome. So yeah, it's just a shame that we do not have the third person feature. It would have been cool, you know, to run around as the hero in this mode. Boromir is retreating, I think. Trying to escape. We are hunting him. These humans. Oh! It's two hobbits. It's probably Merry and Pippin. They are part of the same unit as Boromir. He was defending them in the movies. Forgot that they are also a part of his unit here. I believe they have their own units too. I believe in the original mod there were like 5 or so different versions of Gollum and Frodo and Sam and Merry and Pippin. They had like many different versions based on what campaign you played and what faction they were in. Here we have a Boromir hero with Merry and Pippin as part of the unit. They are officers, and then the unit is a bunch of rangers. Most of the unit has fled. Merry and Pippin is about to leave now too. So they fled.
It was their fault. The enemy stood fast and were fierce fighters.
Didn't even catch them. Okay, battle is over. No one died. A little bit disappointing. We wanted to kill Boromir. But then we would have killed Merry and Pippin too. So. We'll pause the recording here. Right, we're back. The campaign map. Boromir fled. We'll try to move this way. They're blocked. We have Boromir here. He'll probably be backed up by someone else if he attacks.
Slay them all!
We have Boromir. No, we can't fight them. We'll save the game. Always want to do that. In case we have a crash. I don't know how stable this mod is. I heard someone in a video say that we should save often. Let's fight the battle on the battle map.